We are a city of followers, and I don't mind following in these footsteps of electric cessation, but we are also a city that provides water to our citizens. And in the interest of health and safety, in the midst of still a pandemic of, I'm going to say, economic massive proportions, the simplicity of keeping water on would be a humanitarian thing to do. It would be the right thing to do in terms of service to our community.
Just say, look, we're going to cut off the utilities and we're going to give them water. You know, there's no incentive for folks to continue to reach out to us. And I'm just curious as to how Commissioner Robinson thinks we're going to handle the financial end of this piece when it's all said and done. You can create the narrative and say it's inhumane, but, and I guess if that's the way you want to look at it, then that's the way you can look at it. But we're not trying to be inhumane. We're trying to figure out how we can best move everybody forward, our city, our finances.
And I really find it hard. And Glenn, this is something that I have to ask you. You know, I feel like I should walk out of the room at this point and not vote on anything because, you know, my whole life was changed by people perceiving that I turned people's power off, and by a video that went viral, you know, that often gets mentioned every day in the Palm Beach Post practically, but that was a lie because I didn't turn people's power off. And I don't know if I could possibly vote on this because of the 40 to 60,000 death threats and hate mail that I received, and what it did to my family and my livelihood and my business. And I don't want to be put in that position by someone who, you know, needs to perpetuate a lie that I actually shut off. And I've said this.
Point of information.
I'm actually have the floor, but
yeah, except I have a point of information, which is a non-debatable motion, as we've learned a lot about non-debatables. Under the law, are we obligated to vote on an item that's before us?
Unless you have a conflict of interest or are absent from the room, you're to vote on an item.
Okay. And I would say, though, that that's the point of information. So if my life is endangered, Commissioner Hardy, or my livelihood is endangered, Commissioner Hardy, and I'm sure the city could provide you with the 40 to 50,000 plus nasty grams, hate mail, and social media posts that they made. They can share those with you so you can enjoy them and have a good laugh over them. So I'm telling you this because it affected my life,
point of order, point of order, point of order,
my family, and you're not taking ownership of it.
Point of order.
You need to take ownership of it.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask either that those comments be ruled not germane to the discussion, or that I be allowed to respond to them.
Well, feel free. I'd love to hear your response.
Look,
I've been waiting.
You know,
I've been waiting.
We are sure. I believe, and Madam Mayor, I understand that you are a believer in Christ, as am I. And what I said was that, you know, I felt that you were a good person who made a mistake. Excuse me.
What mistake was that, sir?
I think you made an error in excuse me. I think you made a huge mistake in not taking seriously the shutoffs.
And at that point, I told you that my father was coming down, 83 years old. They were quarantining everybody at that point. And when I came back and we had that meeting, I told you I was involved with my father.
Madam Mayor, you are doing right now what got you into that issue in March. You are avoiding responsibility, the responsibility that you have to be a leader. And that is what you as a mayor are responsible for, refusing to meet, not being aware of what's going on, while at the same time wanting to be yourself the figurehead of the city. You can't sit in every parade and read every proclamation, but when the stuff hits the fan, you don't want to have a meeting or to have a meeting timely. You had to be browbeat in the public sphere to have that meeting to begin with.
You were completely out of line, sir, and you were vulgar in your movements at that meeting. You were pounding your fists, you were stomping your feet. You chased me into the conference room, and you chased me out of that.
I stood at my spot. I didn't chase you
Out of
Madam
anywhere.
Mayor, can we carry on with business, Madam Mayor?
Please.
I'm saying you better be accountable, because I'll tell you right now, sir, what you did was atrocious. I don't decide and turn
We
people's.
have a vote to move on.
I am to blame. All of you, every single one of you are to blame as well, because I only have the same vote as every single one of
Not
you.
true.
not
You
put
have
it
the
on
ability to
my back.
call a special meeting on your own as the
I was
mayor.
not there. I was dealing
You
with
have
my
the ability
dad.
to call a special meeting by yourself. You don't need us. That's in the rules. If you wanted to have a special meeting, you could have one. That's
I
my
was
point.
dealing with a
That's my
family.
point. You can't put it off on us. You're supposed to
was
be the
dealing with the
the mayor, the
family
leader of the city, and you're blaming us for your inaction.
I'm not blaming
Point of
you.
order.
I'm blaming you personally for not having a soul. Other
Can
than
we
that,
have
let's
a
move
vote
on,
to move
please.
on?
Let's move on. How
Madam
dare you? I hope you never have a daughter, sir, that goes through the bullying that you have done to me these months.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
the reality of the situation is there's hard evidence that this commissioner knew well in advance of that meeting that there was not one customer in our entire
This is-
system that was cut off, that had no, in fact, we turned folks back on that had been cut off previous. So this commissioner.
53 people were cut off that week.
You're
What are you
interrupting
talking
me.
about?
You're interrupting me. You are interrupting me. You stood there before God and everybody else. You pounded your fist and raised your voice and created this hoopla that has brought untold negative publicity to our city, all for your personal political gain. You have used the backs of the citizens of Lake Worth, the city as a backdrop, this commission as a backdrop for your entire campaign for the state house. And you, sir, should be ashamed of yourself. You can sit back there with that smug smile on your face and create your next viral video. I hope that works out for you really, really well.